Hey, vinyl friends and vinyl community, it's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and I wanted to share with you what I did on Record Store Day. So, Record Store Day was this past weekend, and of course, the Swifties were out in full force once again. I usually get there right around 5:45, 5:50 in the morning, and typically that means I would be anywhere from number 3 to number 7 in line. This year, I show up and I'm about 25 back. It was that busy, which is crazy. But it also goes to show not just the Swifties route, but they had a really good list this year. I think this is by far the best list that they've had since I've been going to Record Store Day. And I will show you that I picked up more records this year than I ever have in the past for Record Store Day. And there's still one or two that I really wish I could have picked up as well that I wasn't able to get my hands on. But let's start right where it should be. I did pick up my copy of Taylor Swift's Folklore, the Lawn Pond Sessions. Now, I was getting this anyway. This was on my list. I really enjoyed the special she put out on Disney Plus for this, and when they announced it was going to be available, I thought that would be really cool to have. And so, super happy I was able to pick this up. Of course, most record stores got everything ordered on this. There were 75,000 of them that were produced. I think they sold almost all 75,000. Like I said, the Swifties were out in full force, and they picked up all of those albums. All right, next up, I did pick up both the albums that were available from the Record Store Ambassadors. We'll start with Amanda Shires' EP. This one is called Live at Columbia Studio A. It's 4 songs on this kind of, it's interesting. It's like a pink, and they got this discoloration piece here in it, and then there's an etching on side 2 with her kind of like signature on the back. 4 tracks recorded live. And then I picked up Jason Isbell and Amanda Shires. Again, this is only 4 tracks. This is called the Sound Emporium EP. 4-track EP. This one was a little more expensive than I think it should have been, with it being only 4 tracks and of course etching on side 2. But it's Jason Isbell, and he is one of my favorite songwriters, and I will buy most anything he puts out, so I had to pick that up as well. Standard black wax. The next one I put on my list was this one here. This is the Cactus Blossoms, If Not For You. This is another EP. It's got 4 tracks on it as well, and they are all covers, I believe, of Bob Dylan songs. So it is the Cactus Blossoms do Bob Dylan. Yeah, Bob Dylan originals. And it comes on this really nice looking blue-white splatter on here. Just a really beautiful looking album. This is 2 songs per side on it. And if you don't know the Cactus Blossoms, they would be considered kind of Americana or folk music. You can hear them on Outlaw Country a lot. In fact, when I would listen to Outlaw Country, If Not For You is the song they typically play from these guys. And I always kept wondering which album that was on. Turns out it was on the EP, which was only available, of course, on CD at the time. So when I saw they were pressing this to vinyl, I knew I had to put that on my list. Next up, I picked up the debut album from Mr. Big. This was released a couple years back, and then this was supposed to be re-released again, I think last year for Black Friday, but it got cut, so they finally put it out again for this Record Store Day. Super excited to have this. I only have this on cassette, believe it or not, and so nice to have it on vinyl. Standard, well, this is a blue, if you can believe it. This is a dark blue, almost violet, yeah, dark blue wax. And so very excited to have that. This one is numbered, and I believe, see the numbers on the bottom. If I can get to it here. Mine is number 2326 out of 3,500. So I love that they're numbering some of these albums again. They used to do that for every single album on Record Store Day, but they haven't done it in several years. So it's nice to see that. Hometown Boys had to pick this up. Soul Asylum. This is their MTV Unplugged from 1993, the complete MTV Unplugged. Standard Black Wax double vinyl album. I also have a ticket, which is upstairs right now, but they played a acoustic gig. Dave and Ryan played an acoustic gig for the hometown crowd at Down in the Valley record store, which is where I go for record store day. And when you bought this album at Down in the Valley, you got a free ticket to get in, priority pass ticket, so you were allowed in, guaranteed, to the show. Obviously limited to the amount of space in the store. I was not able to make it, but the store manager told me to just keep the ticket anyway. He had plenty of tickets and didn't need it back for someone to get in. So that will go inside my sleeve here as a memento for this album. I was super pumped to see this on the list. This is, I took me a long time to get, but I did get an original pressing of this that was in VG condition. Sounds really good, but the main song on here was noisy. It sounded like it had been played over and over and over and over and over again. It sounded like there was groove distortion. So when I saw this on the list, I had to pick this up. This is PM Dawn. This is the Bliss album, Vibrations of Love and Anger and Ponderings of Life in Existence. These guys were pretty big on top 40 radio in the early to mid 90s. They had two really good albums that had produced a few hits for them. This was one of them, and it's fantastic. Comes on this nice, beautiful orange. It sounds really, really good. I was really surprised to see that this was done by MNRK, and MNRK does a lot of heavy metal albums. They do a lot of Zakk Wylde's albums and other heavy metal albums. So to see that they were the ones putting this out was kind of a surprise to me. I like it. Very cool. So sounds great. Sounds great. Another one I was super excited to pick up, and I really, really hope this means that he's going to do the rest of his catalog too on vinyl. This is Kip Moore and his second album, Wild Ones. The debut album, of course, I'd love to see that released on vinyl. That would be absolutely fantastic. He's got a brand new album coming out this week, so look for that. But this is awesome. It's got the song Wild Ones. My kids absolutely love the song Wild Ones. And it's got a really great track called This Is Us, or That Was Us, which is another fun one I used to play at some of my acoustic gigs that I did when I was out playing as a musician. So super pumped to have that. And this one is on, again, kind of a midnight blue splatter vinyl. Really, really pretty. And that's what I got in my first trip that I did in my initial. I could only get 8 albums at the time, so those are the 8 that I had picked out. I really, really wanted to get the Macho Man, but I knew with the limited quantities, there's really very little chance of that, especially being the 25th person in line. And of course, that's what happened. It was gone by the time I got up there, and the person that was 2 people in front of me asked for it too, so even if it was still there, it would have been gone before I got there. So that was that. After I was done with my purchase, I left the store and looked around, and the line was still wrapping around the mall complex, which was insane. This place has never had more than maybe 60 or 70 people in line at a record store day since I've been going. And today it was wrapped around the Walgreens and the rest of the mall. I don't know how far it actually went, but even after I had gone through as like 25th person and I did a little perusing and I waited for my buddy to get through, he was a little bit back behind me. And even after all that, walking out, the line was still jam-packed and around that store, around the other side. It was crazy, crazy thing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go over to my other store, Mill City Sound. I'm going to check them out and see what they got left. Maybe they'll have a couple of the albums I still wanted. So I drove the way to Mill City, parked in the back, went around, walked in the front door, and that place was stuffed with people. Every aisle in the store was jam-packed with people waiting to get in. Everyone had their RSD numbers that they were given, and they were all waiting still to get through the initial line of people. So I walked in, I saw that, I took a look at the wall to see if there's anything there, and then I walked right back out the door. I was not going to, it would take me at least an hour, maybe 2 hours to be able to get through and pick through whatever they had left at the time. And so I decided to just head on back home. Came back home. I thought maybe I'd go to the Soul Asylum concert, and then decided against that and just said, I'm going to run out to the Golden Valley location of Down in the Valley and just see what they have left. They almost always have just a bunch of stuff left. And just let's go see. So I'd say about 5 o'clock that night, I went back out to Golden Valley, and sure enough, they had a bunch of stuff left over. And I found 2 of the 4 that I was leaning on wanting to get. The first one being this one. This is the Allman Brothers Band live at Syria Mosque in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1971. So looking forward to this. If it's anything like the live album they did last year, it's going to sound absolutely fantastic. Gray wax. So I'm really excited about that. That was one that was on my short list. And the other one was Brownout presents Brown Sabbath. This was described to me as kind of like Latin versions of Black Sabbath songs. I really, really love jazz Sabbath stuff that has been coming out the last couple of years. So, and I've heard about this one and was told that I should really check this out too. I didn't even realize that this was going to be out, but sure enough, the record store manager had sent this to me asking if I was on my list, and so I put it on my list, and they had a few extra copies, so I grabbed one, and it comes on this really weird, almost gross looking brown splatter vinyl. Really not sure about that, but looking forward to sitting down and listening to this and seeing what this has versus the Jazz Sabbath stuff that I've really enjoyed. So there you go. That is my record store day final haul. I did not buy anything else. I did not search through any bins to see if there were extra stuff. I figured the 10 albums that I did buy cost me plenty of money as is. Like I said, this is the most records I've ever bought at a record store day. And so I left it at that. And super impressed. Everything went very smoothly. It was bitter cold. We were all wrapped up and bundled outside waiting for the 3 hours before the store opened. But it was worth it. It was fun. We all had a good time. And I got almost everything I wanted. The only thing that I didn't get that I really wanted was the Pearl Jam Giveaway album. And I have not been able to find a copy at any stores that put their stock online yet. It looks like I'm out of luck with that one. I know the 10 Club is reissuing one. I am not a member of that, but I saw that after taxes and shipping that would be over $60. So I'm going to hope that they're going to put a mass version of that out at some point. It's Pearl Jam. I can't imagine they won't. And when that happens, I'll probably pick it up at that point. Otherwise, it's okay. It's not something I really have to have in my collection. Just one of those, I've heard it sounds absolutely great and would be fun to have in my collection. It's right in that pocket era of Pearl Jam that has all the stuff that I really liked from the band. So we'll see. But for now, I will live without it. It will be okay. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are new, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. Love talking about anything vinyl with the vinyl community. So let me know your thoughts on my record store day haul. Tell me what you picked up that you're really excited about. I have not listened to any of my record store day stuff yet. I have some stuff going on medically that has really gotten me tired at the moment. And I'm just starting to get used to the meds that I'm on. So I'm going to start listening to these records. But go ahead and send out some positive thoughts if you can. That would be great. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep spinning, vinyl friends.